Okay, and we are live again. I had to reposition the microphone because the results are better, but it's just I have to speak into a mic a lot closer to get the sound I like. All right, so today, Saturday, 45 days until the election. And what is different? Not much. Um, Mark Robinson, it appears that the attack on his character character attack uh, has not really done anything or had any effect. Good morning, Sean. Uh, so again, it shows you that, irregardless of the polls and that, one side's losing bad. They know it, and they're going to do anything they can to try to pull a rabbit out of a hat. But I do believe that they are running out of things, and it's just, you can, what was the saying, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool them all. Well, I think they've been jerking people around these past few years to the point where everyone is fed up, irregardless. And you're seeing that division that they were counting on to split our society into two polarized exact opposites. That's starting to fall apart. Uh, people are just fed up. They want change, you know. So hopefully things will work out for us here. Countdown's going. Morning, Chris. And we got everybody starting to pull in here. Uh, I guess 9 a.m. is the best I can do during these weekly things. Tomorrow it will be at 10 again. Usually Sunday we sleep in a little late and give the wife a break. She had to go grocery shopping today, so generally at this time that's where I'd be out with her. Because another thing, go to the damn store, you're taking your life in your hands. Mm. All right. Oh, let's see what we got here. Saw this morning Trump campaign. Who the hell knows? It could be. I mean, they unfroze the Iranian money. That happened during the hostage crisis back in '79. You know, um, when they took over the embassy and held them people for quite a long time, and they froze their accounts. They were having four guided missile cruisers. That's when Shah was still in power. He ordered four guided missile cruisers to be made, and they were a little bit different than the class we had. They had a 5-inch gun on the forward side, on the bow, where ours didn't. They were just all missiles, was the main armament. And the one guy told me, he goes, "Yeah, we kept the five of them." He goes, "We call them the Ayatollah class." And of course, those are all been phased out because they're obsolete. But we kept four guided missile cruisers and locked up their money forever. And I still don't understand why they released the money. It makes no sense. Our biggest beef with them was that, and the fact that they're constantly attacking Israel or pissed off about them, and developing nuclear weapons, which agitated the shit out of the Israelis. And I always thought that we never really had any type of association with them in that or anything. But now, they seem to be working hand in hand or freed up the assets. You know, I don't understand it. Okay, not at all, unless the current administration is working to destroy the U.S. as just as if back in the old days, the communist subversion. And now, I thought all those things were gone with the Cold War, but it looks like that's what's going on. You know, I, all right, so we're down to two. Doesn't look too active this morning. So I'll run this for a while and see if any, since I only got two of you watching, anything you want to bring up other than uh, the political stuff. Because I don't know if the notices are getting out. A lot of people are complaining that when I fire off a live stream, there's no notices going out. Okay. And using this different software here, the StreamYard, it's different because if I go to my channel content, boom, oh, it shows me live. It does show me live on YouTube. Okay. And thumbnail. I can upload a thumbnail and I'll get that taken care of. Where is my 45 days? There's the 42, 44, 46. It seems I cannot find the unless I skipped it. Oh well. We'll just put a little Trumpy up there as the thing. Go back to our live broadcast. Okay, let's see. Okay, Chris is receiving the notices and Sean is getting the notices, but several guys said they haven't. So I don't know what it is. Okay. Who knows? Now we're down to one viewer. So I'll just go on for a while if I only have two years. We'll do this for a bit because nothing's really changing much. Price of gold has gone up. We'll check that. Gold has hit another all-time high. Silver, unfortunately, went from like a 29.30 to 31 and a 15 cents. And all the YouTube influencers in the metals thing, and there's a lot of them out there. A lot of guys talk about accumulating silver and gold. They've all been saying it's going to go, again, up to 50 something, which I doubt that very much. Silver will never see $50 an ounce. The reason gold is high is because, let's see, they say powder's fixing to go high. Yeah, well, it ain't cheap. That, you see that 8-pound jug behind me. I have some of them that have a $140 price tag. And like I told you, I caught that one just before the January price increase. And it was $300 and some dollars. And now they're over 400. Anywhere you go, they're over $400 for IMR powder. And it depends on the powder. Some of the powders that nobody really likes much, you can get them cheap or, they're not used. They're not the ones I use. And the ones you find in the store are not that popular either. The popular ones go. So it could be, but I tell you what, though, I am going to have a virtual garage sale, and I'll have some Carcano ammo, components, brass, and some other odds and ends, ammo and that, some reloading tools. Every now and again, I go through, and if I have dies or bullet molds I'm no longer using, you know, I let my subscribers take a crack at them first before I put them out online or take them to a gun show or flea market. So, going to work on that this weekend. So, be ready for that. And what it'll be is just I'll have a announcement on YouTube, and then you go to Rumble, and Rumble I'll tell you what the details are there. Because YouTube, I can't try to buy or sell anything related to firearms, okay, or they'll wipe the channel out. So that's that there. But powder, yeah. See, all of this stuff, I don't know. Ever since the big shortage, since 2000, and that was the worst of all of them. I mean, we didn't see powder or nothing, and they just increased the price. Same with primers. Primers are going $100 a thousand. They used to be 24, 30. Okay, I mean that destroys the reloading right there and then. And I can get 9mm ammo at about 25 cents a round. And when you're looking at 10 cents for a primer, you know, 10 cents for the powder, say, or 5 cents, even 5 cents. So that's 15 bullets, 20 cents, okay, or 18 or whatever, depending on how many thousand of them you buy. And you just can't reload this stuff. And then the time and labor, you got to take your fire brass, process it, wash it, expand it, go through it, charge them. Even with a progressive reloader, it's not worth it because of the cost of the components. You can't reload the stuff. The whole idea behind reloading, and yeah, if you look at it that you buy the brass case, it's if you have to buy cases, they usually run 5 cents a piece or something, depending. Or 9mm now is worthless because there's so much of it around. If you go on the gun broker, they're selling it even processed, ready to just start reloading, cleaned and everything. The prime size cleaned for, I don't know, it's not much. The market's flooded. But not the same with, and on the other hand, something like 38 Special, something a little odd. All the cowboy action calibers, they stopped making the brass for them. It's Starline. So all of them things are off the wall, for people who want to reload for their guns. So, yeah, it's tough to see. And yeah, it's all controlled. It's all part. I think the reason they did that, it's a gun control thing, because once people couldn't get ammunition, everybody went into reloading. The next thing you know, reloading tools are being bought up and then remarked up when they're out of stock. That's why some companies now, if you want a shell holder, like a 9mm shell holder, you can buy one. You can't buy all 5 of them and buy out their stock, then double the price online somewhere. A lot of people were doing that crap. Okay. Just goes to show you. Yeah, they're all in with the government doing the same thing. But that's insane. To where, because I know this guy that buys and sells stuff at the flea market, and he got it in his head that buying this reloading equipment, he's going to make money. And I mean, he did buy some stuff. He bought a nice RCBS rock chucker set with a scale and everything, and brand new in a box. I don't know what the hell he paid for it, but what he thinks he's going to get for it. But it's still sitting there in his storage area. And he told me he bought at an auction a whole pile of reloading stuff. I haven't been to his place to look at it. And he had all kinds of primers and stuff, which some of that stuff, is 40, 50 years old. If they've been stored right, they'll still go off. Um, but I can tell from the boxes some of the stuff was made in the 70s or early 80s. That's why they kind of changed the design of the box. Even CCI did it. So you can tell after a certain date, they started using a different logo or a different design on the box. Because some of the stuff I seen at the gun shows were off-name primers. I had no idea who made them or where they come from. They were in a weird box, and they were old. I mean, wherever they were sitting, the box is yellowed, stained, covered with dust. You know, $140 for 1,000 primers. And I'm like, ah, there he is, Megabait. We're talking about Mark Robinson yesterday, and I guess after this assault on his character and integrity, I guess this morning nothing much came of it. They were telling him they want him to stand down and stop running. Uh, so that was the big news yesterday. I guess today, nothing much is more. I guess everyone's worked up about what's going on in Israel. I guess that's getting to a really bad point down there. Uh, you know, you hear that the Russians are pounding the snot out of the Ukrainians and that, and then somebody else will tell you that the Ukrainians are, cutting off the Russians and making their advance into Russian territory. So you really don't know unless you know somebody who's there on the ground witnessing what's going on. But I was told most of it is older. They were telling me it was all this older equipment that was being driven around and blown up and that at the beginning of the war. It's like there was nothing new being used. They thought that was quite unusual. But let's see what we got here. Put up my lawn signs yesterday for Mark and Trump. I put mine up this week. I got a Trump sign. Put it in my yard. I got mostly the religious thank you, Jesus, and free internet signs up on the corners. Not many people in my development have a political sign up at all. Outside the development down the block, they do. And when I drove up the main road going into the town, I seen several signs on that country road, which is mostly farms and businesses. I've seen several Trump signs. We brought that up yesterday. Where I live, you don't see it. And I mean, driving, I live outside of the cities. So I'm driving through rural areas and, you see a few Trump signs and more and more of them are popping up. You don't see anything for Harris. And I'm talking 30 miles in any direction from my house. But there are some people, somebody, of course, from Phoenix, Arizona, said that there's Harris signs all over the place. And one individual, I'm not quite sure, I think he was up in Wisconsin or Michigan. Up in Michigan, he said that. Or I'm not quite sure. There's a lot of Harris signs. And then the guy goes, maybe I should move. Someone goes, why are you going to move? Because of a political opinion. I said, well, I had to. Because they just wrecked the economy. I couldn't find a job in my trade. They totally destroyed the Rust Belt. all of that. We have all kinds of people down here. I had people from Michigan, and the most people when I first moved here almost 20 years ago, most of the people I ran into working in the factories and doing that were all from Ohio. Actually, there was this one guy, his brother lived there for years. They decided the family moved from New York to Ohio because it was easier to find work. Okay, back in the 90s. So, yeah, from Hickory to Morganton. Yeah, I mean, you see it when you drive. Okay, I really haven't. I ain't been out to Hickory in a while. I used to go to the gun show there, but I haven't been on the western part of the state up in the mountains and that. I've been to Asheville once, and I know that's the way Asheville is. They tried getting rid of the local gun show and a lot of other stuff there too. But I haven't done much out that way in a while. I usually, like my last job was in Burlington, so I had the other way. I had east from where I live, and Greensboro. I don't know. Haven't drove around residential areas. Generally, I'll just go through on the highway or the main roads. Uh, I don't know. We're talking about politics. What do you want to talk about? Okay, really nothing because nothing's changed much in the political arena. With the Fed rate cut, the precious metals were supposed to go crazy, and gold hit another all-time high, and silver's went up a few dollars, but they were expecting a much larger increase. And strange thing is, platinum ain't moved at all, up or down. Okay, which I guess it was used industrially for something in automotive uh, work, but that hasn't been anything there. Let's see, Asheville is now East San Fran. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was like that years ago. Okay, Jaspot rifles for sale on Royal Tiger. Let me call up Royal Tiger. And let me see what they got. They've been publishing a lot of stuff. They've been putting up a lot of things. We're going to look under antiques. Okay. Okay, we have a Gras. I see a Mannlicher, Vetterli Complete, B grade, all these B grades. B grade, B grade. Gras. Gras for 199. B grade, if they got sights on them. Some of these guns don't have rear sights. But all right, do they have them now? Because I'm looking, they're not under their antiques, and I'm looking to see if I have, because I always get these. Okay, Royal Tiger, reduced price ammunition, clips. Uh, but nothing. Let me go back to their hand select firearms. Let me see if it's okay. Here's this stuff. Let's go. Let's go. But I don't see any chest pose. Uh, And I really, they got the French guns. They had some of those rare French Navy uh, rifles that were ridiculously priced, and they were in bad shape. And if they ain't working, there's no way in hell you're getting parts or anything for them. I don't see any Chaspos. If you could, you know, all right, catalytic converters. I don't know. I haven't seen them. I've seen where they offered Carcanos and that, but I don't remember them with Chaspos. Okay, and there's enough of them around for $700-800 or so. Thousand. You can get one that works. I've shot them. All right, that's probably true. If that was under their hand select, I didn't catch that email, or if I did, I didn't pay attention to it. A lot of them I'll just pass when I'm busy, because it's all the same uh, stuff to me. I was looking at the 91 Carcano long rifles, but for the amount of money they want, I really don't think the bores are worth the crap on them. They admit to you the bores are poor to fair and may have tracings of rifling in them. So now you're tying up $300 in a gun that if you try to shoot it, ain't gonna shoot worth the shit. You know, on top of it. Plus, you got to get used to the Carcano sights. So I kind of pass on that. And plus, well, I went to a gun show and seen some long rifles. They wanted 6.5 and that, which I believe is a little bit too much. Okay. Carcano was really common and not really uh, looked at. They didn't even have good reference books to tell you the different models and makes. There wasn't any published until recently that explained how all this happened. And a lot of it is, you have to remember, a lot of these guns were just retrofitted with different bayonet attachments and stuff over the years. See, that's something nobody really accounted for. That's why it gets confusing when you go to get the examples. Okay. Um, so, it was interesting. Uh, and there were a lot of them out there. Unfortunately, a lot of them were hacked up because people bought them cheap. There was some ammo. Uh, what the surplus arms dealers used to do in the old days, 50s and 60s, is they would pull military ammo, take that torpedo bullet off, dump out the powder, and they would load something uh, with a 264 bullet. I had a bunch of ammo I found in my cousin's shop back in the 70s. It was like that, and it was kind of questionable because that was before they had liability. People put weird shit out there that you know. So, and that was the way people did it. I bought a rifle, and the guy had loading blocks. He had military ammo in the clips, and you could see that's what he was doing, is pulling the bullets and putting a soft point bullet of a smaller diameter on there. That was a standard way of coming up with ammo back in the day. But now we don't have to do that. You can still get the components. But yeah, Chaspos. They must have been taking I know the French sold Graz to anybody and everybody. A lot of them went to the Middle East, and you'd find them because all of those obsolete guns even the needle fires, they all went to these far flung countries. And I'm talking over 100 years ago. They were selling them as surplus. Um, so, yeah, but I didn't catch it. Let me see if I can. See, it says no data found for chat spots. Yep. So I don't know on that one. I did not catch that email. Could be a few that just wound up there. You never know. Okay. Could have been lying around there for a very, very long time. You know, that's the long and short of Mills surplus ammo and stockpiles. You know, especially in a far-flung country like that. God only knows what they had there. You know, at one time there had to be people bringing muskets and stuff. You know, it's like I didn't realize, like the Snyder conversion, that in the 1870s, 1880s, there were all these companies that would buy any caplock musket and put a Snyder like conversion on them. And they ended up going as cheap guns to the far flung corners of the earth because there are actually some US 61 or 64 muskets that were converted like that. They're kind of rare if you find them. They weren't done by the government. It's these things were sold as surplus on the international market. And there was somewhere, probably Belgium or something, where they were doing these conversions and then they'd sell them to these, well, I don't know what the hell you call them back then, third world countries or that, whatever, sell them to some places where they'd use them. And even in the 60s in the Vietnam War and the far flung reaches of the jungle, people were armed with flintlock muskets, you know, in Cambodia and that in there. Um, so it's hard to say. You will find a lot of stuff that nobody can really identify or whatever, because there's always somebody that's just doing things. Depends on what. Okay. 9 millimeter, 5.56, 223. No. I mean, right now, I just was looking for a friend of mine. He wanted to know what a case of 9 millimeter, you know, and it's brass case ammo, blazer brass. It's 25 cents uh, a round. And the 5.56, depending on who or what brand or whatever, they're below 50 cents. When them guys were telling me that during one of the crises, they all have AR-15 rifles. They went out and bought the green tip U.S. ammo. Was either Winchester. Winchester does it now, but it could have been Lake City. They're paying like $1.20 a damn cartridge at one time. All right, now I think Winchester it's just over 50 cents a cartridge, and that's mil spec ammo. Okay, you got different countries out there. You know, I think PPU has a bunch of stuff that's a little bit cheaper, and there's something that it didn't have the green tip, but it's a penetrator round, and it's made somewhere in Europe. You know, I don't know. And that was like 40 some odd cents around, a little bit less. But some of the foreign ammo, wouldn't really trust. But yeah, it's cheaper. Now, if you go and look for something else, 38 Special always was high. Makarov. Um, some ammo that isn't that popular doesn't sell a lot. I know 44 Magnum is expensive, or 45 Colt or something. Those, something like that, if you got the components. Okay, I got brass, I got primers now, and just the powder, I got cast bullets. Now, I could load a lot of 44 Magnum, won't cost me as much as buying it. Okay. Um, but it still would cost more than it used to years ago. 45 ACP is another one. I got a bunch of once fired brass I bought from a police range. I got the primers now. I got a ton of cast bullets I cast when I used to shoot all the time. I used to shoot in an indoor range, once a week with my 1911. Yeah, that I can. And using bullseye, you're only using 3 point something grains of powder. You load a lot of cartridges uh, without going in. But see, that's just accumulations I have. If I had to buy the components to load it, it's a tough call. You have to remember, over 40, 45 years, I've accumulated a lot of stuff, so at the older prices. So I'm fond of CCI primers. Yeah, I kind of noticed that. For some reason, it was small pistol for the longest time. You could not find small pistol primers. And then all of a sudden, I said, okay, you always found large rifle primers. They basically had some most of the time. Or them CCI white box military ones, they would pop up every now and again. But then all of a sudden, like for some great mystery, you can't find any large rifle primers made by anyone for sale anywhere online. Okay, which was bizarre. I don't know if the factories were just manufacturing, set all their machines up to manufacture like small pistol primers for 6 months and ran out or whatever. And then large rifle primers ran out, which has to mean that they stopped making them. Okay, because anytime something runs out, this stuff is warehoused. Okay, the stuff you're buying, let me see these here I bought, if they have a date on these primers. Lot 0524. So it may be that these primers here were made this year. Okay, it could be. But generally, the one guy that worked for Remington Ammo told us, generally the way it works is they manufacture the ammo on historic records. So in other words, if they sold, say, just throwing out a number, say they sold 5 million rounds of 9mm. Well, then they schedule in their factory to produce 5 million rounds of 9mm, then go on and make 2 million rounds of 38 Special, and then something else and something else. And that's what they'll do. It's like with 380. For years in this country, 380 auto pistol was not considered a very powerful thing. And there were a lot of old surplus guns chambered for it. Okay. A lot of militaries in World War II used it. But all the gun articles I can remember back to when I started reading the gun magazines, every American gun writer said the 380 pistol cartridge was barely, considered barely usable for self-defense, or, to carry to protect yourself. And then again, everyone leaned on 1911s. 45, 44 Magnum was popular back in the 70s. 357 Magnum was making a name for itself as, the handgun. A lot of wheel guns. There were a lot more wheel guns. Okay, not so many 9mm. 9mm was not really popular cartridge back in the 70s. Okay. Um, and it kind of threw it off once they started making them pocket pistols and concealed carry and stuff again, like them little vest pistols and 25 auto, and that used to be around everywhere. You used to find them little cheap 25 autos, 22s, maybe a 32 here and there, little pocket guns. That's what people kind of use for concealed carry in an emergency. Okay. Once they come out with the idea, hey, the 380 and what was it? Ruger started making that, the LCP, and everybody made a little tiny 380 pistol. And then next thing you know, they're selling. Because when Ruger come out with that at the SHOT Show, they took orders for a year and a half's production. So they sold everything that they could produce for the next year and a half was sold after that SHOT Show. Already, ordered in advance. That's why the gun became a shortage. And then once the guns got out there, everyone's looking for ammo, and people really didn't buy ammo. And then next thing you know, there's no 380 ammo, no 380 brass, no nothing for years until it kind of caught up. See, that's another thing. The 380s, it's like 32 automatic. Okay, using a jacketed hollow point or something like that, and that or 25 is not right. It's wrong. The idea is the small bullet is to penetrate through and hit a vital organ. That is how it works. It's not the weight. It's not expansion and tearing in the flesh. The little full metal jacket goes through and punctures a lung, which if you puncture somebody's lung, even with that little tiny bullet, okay, it's going to slow them the hell down. Okay. It can be fatal. Not instantly fatal, but still fatal enough. Okay. 32s, 380s, and then, sometimes when they expand, they don't penetrate. So you create a terrible flesh wound, but it's not lethal. That's why I just use full metal jackets in all of them. I don't go with the hollow points or none of that other crap. Okay, are components still being sent overseas? I really don't know the answer to that. I do know because I just did a thing on the shotgun shells I've been using to test these Turkish shotguns. And come to find out, I had one weird brand I never heard of is made in Russia. I have another strange brand of double-aught buckshot that's made in Greece. Rios are made in Spain, as they always have been. And then the Fioshi, you get a lot of this weird crap where it'll say that this ammunition is assembled in the United States or made in the US. And I've never heard of it. I've never heard of this ammo or anything. It's foreign made hulls or components shoved together, and it'll come out this week, that video. And it's hard to say because anything that says range and training, stay the hell away from. I brought that Norma range and training, a case of it, and that stuff. It's not Norma brass. It says that on there, okay. But Norma brass, some of the best brass in the world, and that stuff's deformed, and that's why you're getting light strikes because it's not closing. The rims are inconsistent in that. And it's difficult ammo to work with. It doesn't work well. And striker fire pistols, it's a friggin' nightmare. Okay. And some of the other stuff, because there's like Mag Tech and Mag something or other. It's close, but they're two different companies, and some of the ammo, Max Tech and Mag Tech. One's made in Serbia and one's made in South America. And I've used them in some pistols. Some pistols will eat things up, And then some of them, they ain't worth the shit. You ain't got nothing but trouble with them. Two else. And two LC, they are not reliable at all. Three, I had no trouble with them when I owned them. The little 380s, they all shot well for me. Of course, I use full metal jacket. I don't use a weird flat tip. Some guy had this weird blunt nose bullet in the 380, and they didn't work with the crap. A lot of those guns are designed to use a full metal jacket bullet, especially the older ones in that caliber. Well, I can't remember. I bought an M38. Actually, had looked like it had rust in the barrel. I think I got it for 300 and something at a gun. That was quite a while ago. But it had that target style sight on the back. So I got it, fired a few rounds through it, and it blew the rust out of the barrel, after a box of shells. So it wasn't that Royal Tiger rust that's an incrustation that deforms the bullets and doesn't come out. It was light rust or gunk somebody got in there. I forgot what the hell my neighbor, he got a long rifle in good shape. I think he paid close to $500 for it. That was a year or two ago. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, because like you go there and stuff that I look at and say 400, maybe 500. They got $1,000 price tag on it. But go check it out, man. I really don't know current prices because I don't look anymore. Basically, I've been working with reloading and like these discount guns because I can afford to buy them. They used to be, when you're talking $150, $200, that's what you used to buy the mill surplus guns for. Some older, nicer ones, maybe 350. I don't have $20,000 to go and buy, 15 mill surplus guns I don't have in my collection. Especially when Jap rifles are going for $600-700 or something. That's insane. But no, yeah, because I'll be on again tomorrow at 10 o'clock normal time. So if you go check it out, man, come back and tell us what you did. I mean, at least we're getting to talk about something more along the channel lines. 10 mil. Okay. 40 Smith and Wesson. All right, is it's pretty stout, and people don't buy those guns in a Glock or whatever. They don't like 40s. 10. I remember looking at a Smith 10 millimeter in a gun shop when they first came out. That's going way, way back, early 90s. And I remember the FBI adopted them. Now, Don Johnson, for years, okay, in Miami Vice, he had a Bren 10. Those things are rare, but that's the gun he used. He supposedly had a 10 millimeter pistol, that character in that thing, 10 millimeter. And he had a Bren 10. And that Bren 10 was one of the first all stainless steel guns. That's back in the 70s when they were making all stainless steel guns was a big thing. But the Bren 10, that was cool as shit, man. And they had a special effect. That sound when he fired that was different than all the other sounds. 10 millimeter didn't really take off as a service guns too, because you have to have women and 98-pound weaklings in there. So, these people can't handle a 10 millimeters. A lot of people can't handle 40 Smith & Wesson. That's why they're probably the best deal you can get when them Glocks show up and 40 Smith & Wesson police trade-ins. Those are some of the best deals you can get. Yeah, 4 items from Royal Tiger, not one is shootable. That's true. I mean that's why a lot of people out of desperation. Okay, and another thing is, it's kind of like what's his name there, Readiness Review said. You can find stuff, but you have to work at it. You have to go to auctions. You have to search. It used to be you go to gun shows and you just wander through and look at all the tables, and every now and again you'd find somebody that had something. It wasn't insane with the prices, okay, which is a hard thing to deal with because nowadays it's like I went up there, I was looking at some Star pistols, and the guy, I go, well, what do you want for this pistol? Well, it just goes up, it goes down, and I'm not quite sure. My friend said he'll be here, and this and that, and everything else. And he looks at me and goes, but I will not refuse a reasonable offer. Well, if you don't know what the fuck you want for the pistol, what the hell is a reasonable offer? 20, and when someone does that, I go, I'll give you $25 for the gun. Then they all get bent out of shape. So I just looked at this guy and said, you know what? I'll come back when you know what you want for this gun. And I'll talk to you when you can tell me some sort of a price other than, I don't know. My friend said this, and you know how it is. This, no, I don't. What the hell do you want for a damn thing? And Royal Tiger, you can't find nothing. So these younger guys, just to get something, the blind sniper, he's another one. He bought something from Royal Tiger, or he took the bullet. It was either a Carcano or something. He took a Carcano bullet and dropped it right through the barrel. Okay, it fell right out. Okay, uh, I'll take a 10 millimeter Glock. Yeah, that is a powerful, or it's a popular gun. I know several people that love the 10 millimeter Glocks. You know, yeah, the 40. That's how the 40 millimeter. And rumor, it's not a rumor, it's a fact. The feds, you have a bunch of different people, and you have a lot of women. 10, I've never really, I don't know if I've ever even shot a 10 millimeter, but the recoil of that weapon. And another thing is over penetration. When you got something powerful and you shoot a person and the bullet goes through him and hits another person or bounces around a building, the 10 millimeter was just a little too much. The reason the 45 ACP was kind of good was you had a large bullet traveling, a large heavy bullet traveling subsonic. Doesn't have to expand. You just got to hit the person with it. Okay. And it's not that powerful and it's not going that fast. Okay. The idea is a weapon that is usable in 15 feet. Okay. If you want power, controllability, 1911 is the gun. Okay. The reason they went with 9 millimeters is just the different types of weapons and sizes. It is controllable. Okay. And it's got a little bit more pop than a 38 special. Okay. That's about it. They went back to that again. And the 40 Smith and Wesson, again, that was used as a standard police cartridge, but now they're getting phased out, and you can get a decent deal. I used to buy a bunch of those 40 caliber police trade-ins, and you got them at a low price, and it was a good deal for a Glock. I think retail on a standard Glock now is $600 or $700. Yeah, all right, yeah. See, that's another thing. You're out in the middle of nowhere in Alaska. You got a simple gun that works, and it's in 10 millimeter because whatever is out there, you're going to need a 10 millimeter, which you run across out in Alaska. Okay. See, that's another thing. In the Walmart parking lot, I ain't going to run into a grizzly bear. parts to get a functioning rifle. That's about it. Because B grade, like I said, you got to check them guys out. The Blind Sniper is one, and Readiness Review. He does buy them, and he gives you an honest assessment. I give the guy credit because he's spending his money on something he's never going to get his money out of, and he's informing you and giving you a very realistic, unbiased opinion of what they get. The Blind Sniper, he's another one that does that. Uh, he just gives you an honest opinion of the stuff that he bought. But I mean, I laughed when he took that gun from Royal Tiger and dropped the bullet and it went right to hell through the barrel after he knocked all the cobwebs, spiders, and everything else out of there. Yeah, revolvers are good. If anything, a 4-inch barrel 38 special is all you need. Okay. And then again, I'm talking if you have a confrontation at 50, it was 13 feet or something was the standard back when they did all these calculations. At, you know, 13, 15 feet, that's all you need. Okay. 158 grain lead bullet. All right. Soft lead or whatever that lead they got. You don't need a hollow point or nothing. That's in the New York Police Department carried them for over 100 years. All right. Granted, you're not going up against somebody with body armor or, all this other stuff. Times have changed for law enforcement and the threats they encounter. But just for yourself, it's a simple gun. Really, unless you're really screwed up, they're hard to damage, okay, or malfunction. A good Smith or a Colt, a good quality, even the Taurus 38 revolvers, okay, just a basic, simple gun. And the great thing about a revolver, you just load it and leave it for years, and you pick it up and it'll go off. Yep. Yeah, because you don't have the incoming supply. Okay, part of it is when you had guns, when the surplus guns were super inexpensive and they brought them in by the boatload. If you had something was damaged or had a rear sight knocked off or something, you would take them weapons and disassemble them for parts, get stocks and everything else. And that's how I believe a lot of these places got their extra parts. Probably when you bought a shipment, there were probably damaged guns in there. Okay. And they used to probably go through and inspect them. But yeah, they don't have source. They're not getting parts anymore. Okay. And most gun dealers don't scrap out or sell as junk to these places sporterized rifles. Okay. Most people buy the sporterized rifles and try to put the parts together to make an original example and sell it for more money. That's why there are no spares. So if a lot of these guys, somebody sent me an email saying he got one of the Italian Veterli's in 10 millimeter and the sight's missing. Well, you ain't never going to find the sight. And they are soldered onto the barrel, okay, which is a pain in the ass. You got to take the finish off, do this, line it up, solder it, and that's tricky. I tried it. I never really could get it right. It's a tough thing to do. So yeah, I mean, that's buying guns with parts. I pass on them. You know, Kimber Camp Guard 10. All right, that's not a bad pistol. Kimbers are expensive and they're decent guns. Yeah, bear. I'm thinking black bear, but 44 Magnum is a good hunting for deer, bear. Where I lived in New York, the largest animal you're going to run into is a black bear, uh, and white-tailed deer. And that there really isn't anything else creeping around. No elk, no moose. once you get into something that's weighing well over 1,000 pounds, you do need a different type of weapon to hunt, or even like our friend there, Hunter Tex Angle there. If you're in Alaska, yeah, you need something portable with some punch to it. Okay, different ball game. But yeah, the mill surplus thing, and they're bringing more in. He's bringing more stuff in. He gets more and more tractor trailer loads of those weapons, and price is high. He has come up with some super rare stuff, like those. Hmm, man, I can't keep all this stuff in my head. The Portuguese rifles, Kropatscheks. The French had some sort of modified Kropatschek using the 11 millimeter Gras round, and they're quite rare. Okay, he had several variations of them, uh, and they were in crappy shape, but he wanted thousands for them. Okay, and I don't know if you could find. I've seen several. If you watch Ian McCulloch there, when he does the stuff coming up on auction, I've seen several primo grade ones come up. And probably for another 1,000 or 1,500, what the hell he's asking, you could probably get that on a bid, you know. And it's like in mint condition. Hot 4570 low, yeah. Well, if you use straight linotype or linotype, those things, we casted them in 38 special. The Keith semi wad cutter, and we used to go down to dump, find a car door. It's going back to 1970s cars. We ain't talking something, We find a car door and set it up, and them bullets would puncture through a car door. That's how hard they were. People shot them in the trees, and I remember a guy shot it into a tree, got a pocket knife, and dug the bullet out that I casted for him. And there's very little uh, deformation on it or anything, you know. Got more rounds in the 9 than I do in the 44. Yeah, but you know, all you need is one solid hit from a 44. That's all you need. But yeah, it's the mill surplus is getting tough. I haven't gone out and seen what was available. With the economy slowing down, a couple guys have said that they've seen prices at gun shows coming down because you spend all that money to go to the gun show, and you're trying to sell a $400 gun for $1,000, and it don't sell after a year or two, and going time and time again. Eventually, you're going to lose money. You got to turn over your inventory one way or the other. And I mean, yeah, it's always nice to say I bought this for $200. Now I can sell it for 8. But you know, I ain't got time to play that game. I know some people. That's all they do. They don't really give a crap about guns. They don't even know how to shoot guns or anything. They just see something, buy it, and know they can resell it, and that's all they do with it all day long. They didn't used to be. Okay, I can see where you say that. Um, you have to remember when I go to a gun show, you used to find a lot of different stuff. You found the antique stuff, you found the Civil War stuff, the real old stuff. And there were guys that specialized in those guns. Um, most of the people coming to a gun show in a major city are kind of like you said, they're impulse buyers. They're looking for some sort of a new gun, a Glock. That's why when you go, there's always tons and tons of Glocks. Okay. People that really don't know much about guns but want a gun, you know, and then you got your Glocks, and then the same dealer will have the low end Tauruses or something else. So people that don't have money will buy a similar, one of those guns. And like I said, all you've seen was handguns, AR-15s, and shotguns, basically riot guns, short barreled shotguns. And I went to several shows and I started getting tired. That's all was out there because that's what people buy, kind of an impulse buy or whatever. And mags, people selling mags or slings or sights. There's people that don't sell any guns, sell all the accessories. And the holster guys, there's guys that all they do is sell holsters and stuff. So collectible older guns, number one, there's not a lot of them out there. There's not a lot of people that deal with them. Okay, and the several dealers I've known that always used to have something, they told me it's tough to get material. One guy I know, that's all he had was surplus stuff at one time. Never really had new guns. And now he's to where 80% of what's on his table is new commercial items. It's difficult for him to carry on in the surplus type of thing. And that has happened over like 10-year period. It's just the way the market is. Okay. But yeah, that's what the gun shows are. Somebody like, oh, there's a gun show, let's go look. And then, you talk him into buying something that he could probably find if he shopped around for a little bit less. But I'm planning on using my mullet exclusively this season. All right, black powder hunting is fun. Yeah, and that's before the internet. Okay. So I told you that last show I went to, I run into that young man who bought a M1 Garand. Kind of asked him what he paid for it. I think it was around 1,500. And it was all original military. It probably was reworked once or something. But not to get into details, that's about the going rate. And he told me that, like, I get these emails from these different wholesalers. He went and bought a pistol. He got it for like 570, and he said, I went in here at the show, and there's a guy that has MSRP 7.5 on it. Okay, he goes, I'm not going to come to a gun show to buy a new commercial gun when I can find a better dealer and have it sent to my transfer dealer. So that's another thing. It's true, because you can advertise on the internet that my neighbor bought it from that one guy down in Florida. He'll buy a collection, and what it is you're on his mailing list. He don't even list these things on his website. You just get the list of what he bought, and what he does, he buys them right, he keeps the price lower, and they're instantly sold, okay, to people, be it Swedish rifles or any mil surplus guns. And that's the way he does business. That's the way it is now. Because it is nice just to go and put out something online, and within 2 or 3 days you get so many people answer you that you sell out everything and mail it out in a week. Matter of fact, I may be doing that with my garage sale coming up here this week. Virtual garage sales down south. All right. CVA. Beretta 93R. But see, that's another thing. A lot of times I'll go to a gun show looking for something like, Canax and that. And it depends where you are. A lot of these dealers don't even carry some of those guns. because I wanted to get one of the Turkish um, high powers, and my buddy had it. And man, I paid a little bit less than retail, full retail on it, but that's when they were getting hard to find. But you can, it was about close to 5. Now they made another Turkish one. Century Arms is selling it's about 400, so $100 less. So, Jersey Shore. Refurbs 875. Yeah, I mean, hell, I wish I had 24 of them at one time. I wish I could sell them for 850. Still have a couple. I still have a pile of them. I would drag them out and shoot them. TS is not bad. I have several pistols. The problem with a lot of these Turkish shotguns, and I bought some years ago over and unders from TriStar was the name. The barrels are extruded, so also on an over and under and side by side, you have to solder the barrels to a rib. And if they ain't perfectly straight or you screw up the soldering job, they don't shoot worth a shit. And that's the problem uh, with these guns like that is, when you're getting them for less than $500, that's why good quality side by sides and that costs a shitload of money. Okay. And then even with Rodney there, showed me that one shotgun that was $1,300 made out of turkey. The barrels and that and receiver were good, but when you fired it, the 3-inch magnums, it knocked the internal mechanism loose. So even though it was somewhat of a quality gun, okay, to where it knocked where the parts were moving inside the action, okay, was insane. And they still paid 1,300 Canadian, whatever the hell that is. Uh, and their sales tax up there is bad. Okay, Thompson Center is up and running out of Smith and Wesson. Another one of them buyouts. I've shot them. I think I shot a 50 caliber. The 54s were available. I know those are nice guns. Okay, they're nice guns to hunt with. I shot them years ago. 1981. Yeah, yeah. That's when they made some decent stuff back then. Everyone did. You know. All right, so we got some viewers here. A lot of comments. Yeah, mill surplus is tough, and now what's going on? All this political talk about gun bans and all this other stuff again. Again, we have to deal with this stuff again. Equipment and old inventory. All right, it sounds good. Um, hey Peter. Yeah, so you don't know where it's going as far as mill surplus. I doubt very much there are any stocks of decent stuff. Some Swiss stuff still comes in. The Schmidt Rubens, they're still filtering into the country every now and again. What did the Mosen crate get his hands on? CZ70 pistols. You don't see any of the Polish ones coming in anymore, P64s or P83s. You do see Bulgarian Makarovs, and a lot of them have been reworked. I think they're used guns and they're refurbished, and then they spray them with Cerakote or something, some kind of spray finish, give them that dull black finish, not the high polished blue like the original ones were. Um, so yeah, you're not seeing a lot of stuff. I don't know. The Mosin crate, he gets all kinds of weird stuff in small quantities, high powers and all kinds of different guns. But he's another one. You have to send a purchase offer 10 o'clock in the morning, not a minute before, not a minute after, and whatever. And his prices are kind of stiff, you know. But yeah, let's see here. Caps, yes. 10 and 11 caps are hard to find anything less than 1,000. That is very true. Actually, when I went to Grafs and Son, they only had cartons of 5,000. I couldn't get a carton of 1,000. I bought 2 cartons of 1,000, or three actually. I bought musket caps. I bought 10 and 11 caps, and I'm still using them even after all these years. I still have some left, but I am starting to run low. And I was looking to get another carton of 1,000, and they were sold out. You had to get 5,000. But unfortunately, you best really like to shoot your damn black powder cap and balls, because that's the only way you're going to get them now. Yeah, that's true. Like I said, you have to remember these guns. I think by the 1950s, 1960s, everybody had a selective fire type rifle. So that ends general civilian sales. Okay, right there, of any surplus. So we're basically looking at stuff, from World War One, World War Two, and maybe some, well, K 30 31s. I think 1955 they stopped making them in that. So yeah, the guns that fall into that category are really low, because bolt action guns, I don't think any country has been using bolt action guns, any major country, for years, um, or at least a country that buys so many that there will be a surplus market. Put it that way. Good morning. What's your opinion on who wins the election? Why? Well, from what I know, it doesn't really mean anything, but how it looks like Trump is the popular candidate. Uh, if he'll win, I have no idea, because I have no idea what conditions, what's going on. That's why we're doing the countdown. Everything changes on a daily basis, but I believe Trump would win. Okay, but that doesn't mean he will. And the reason why is because people are fed up with the way things are being run right now. They'll take anything different. Good. I'm glad you like that. Flick time. Yeah, I'm looking. I got one. Somebody uh, blew the barrel out, more or less, bulged it. I had to grind and cut the barrel to get the gun apart, and missing an extractor and some bolt parts. And I've been trying to find a replacement barrel for one, and I can't. So I just have something like that just lying around. Uh, in the garage. But what are you going to do? And parts are almost impossible to find for those guns anymore. All right. So we've been at it here for a while. Yeah, that's true. But I don't think it's working. I think people are just they've been lied to so much it don't work anymore. You can only lie to people so long. And when you're telling them one thing and it's quite obvious when they're suffering and things are not going good for them, uh, there's a point where it don't work no more. And I think they've reached that point. All right, hour and a half. I'm getting quite tired. But tomorrow I will have the standard live broadcast like every Sunday at 10 o'clock, which that's 19 after here. Um, you know, um, that's what I'll start my every Sunday broadcast at the regular time. Yeah, you can say that. Most people don't want to deal with reality. They just like listening to what they're told. Makes it easier for them. And yeah, I'm gonna end this pretty tired. And then so tomorrow, 10 o'clock, we'll have another one. It'll be just like before. And yeah, you guys come up with if you want to talk about mill surplus, reloading, hunting, whatever. Go ahead, come up with some sort of topic because really, I started this countdown thing, but it's gonna be unless they do something psychotic, it's just gonna be the same rhetoric over and over again. So I'll just keep doing the daily chats for the next 44 days, and then see what happens. Maybe I'll have a live election day coverage. I'll go buy a case of beer and sit here and watch it and give my commentaries as we go on through the day. All right, gentlemen, as usual, thank you. Thank you for stopping by. Had fun. And I will see you next time around.